Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully if you've been watching a lot of my videos, you know that I'm not trying to make this video to brag or to share anything that is specific about me, but I just want to help you as much as possible. And I truly believe that the best way to help you is to walk you through my own experiences, what was the result of my experiences, how you can do the same, what mistakes I made, and how you can sort of circumvent those mistakes. And so that's why I'm making this video. It is probably going to be pretty long. It's a 4-year breakdown of my high school experience, including, research, internships, clubs, awards, leadership, all those things, SAT, GPA, and then at the end I'll share like what colleges I was accepted in, waitlisted, rejected. I'll also share like if you're interested in the club that I did, how you can get involved with it, things like that. So I went to a high school, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. It's a magnet school. It's very highly ranked, very, very competitive to get into, and also a very, let's say, very, very difficult rigor of curriculum. It is a public school. I'll just share quickly the courses that I took. So the 9th grade courses I took was Health and PE, German 3, Pre-Calc, Foundations of Computer Science, Biology, English, and Design and Technology. This was kind of a cool class where we got to build robots and make them move and learn about, Arduino and things like that. 10th grade I took English, World History and Geography, Honors Chemistry, Health and PE, AP Calculus, German 4, and AP Biology. A lot of the comments asked me like what APs did I take. So in sophomore year I took 2 APs, AP Biology and AP Calculus. In 11th grade I took English 11, AP US History, Physics, Multivariable Calculus, Linear Algebra, AP German, AP Macro Micro. So that's kind of a breakdown of 11th grade. In 12th grade, I took AP English Language, AP US Government, Geosystems, Senior Research Lab, which was in chemistry. This really difficult course that taught me a lot about math called Advanced Mathematical Techniques, and a history elective. My GPA was 4.5. I got all A's in all these classes. A was kind of the highest we could go, except for this one history elective, I got an A minus. And then on the SAT, my first try I got a 1530 out of 1600 with a 23 out of 24 on the essay. I think they got rid of the essay, so you can ignore that. Then my second try is a 1580 out of 1600 with 21 out of 24. Okay, so that was kind of my breakdown of the courses I took. The SAT I think I took at the end of sophomore year or at the beginning of junior year, so that was kind of the timing in which I took it. I know people usually try to take it a little bit later, like the end of junior year, beginning of senior year. It's ultimately up to you. Whenever you feel most prepared to take it, that's when you can take it. But that's kind of the courses I took. You can obviously pause if you want to like screen more rigorously and figure out courses you can take and things like that. I do think that it doesn't really matter too much the courses you're taking or things like that. I think that what matters is kind of you're taking like a high level of rigor, and if you get like bad grades, hopefully the bad grades are early on and you're showing continuous improvement. And try to do your best in classes, try to keep that number up, your GPA, because that's pretty important in getting into possibly your state school or possibly into good schools outside your state, is keeping your GPA up. And then if you're I think that you should just do as many practice problems for the SAT as humanly possible, because if you look at all the statistics, the data just shows that if you if you plot how many practice questions somebody has done, it's pretty directly correlated with the score they're getting. So if you just do, thousands of practice questions and, you see that your score is improving, that's probably a good sign that you're ready to take the SAT. Okay. So that's kind of the boring stuff out of the way. Now I want to talk to you about some of the clubs I did, some of the internships, some of the research, and how you can kind of get involved, how I might be able to help you, things like that. So the first thing is debate. I got pretty involved in debate actually pretty early on in 9th grade. And if you're considering doing a club, what I would recommend is first you choose a club where you are able to compete with other people. And that's kind of important because you want to pursue competitions and you want to pursue like places where you're ranked, because that basically helps colleges decide if you're at the top of something, if you're improving at something. And just saying that you're a leader for, I don't know, some club, like saying that you're the leader of a computer science club is very different from saying that you competed and you got silver at USACO, and that means that you're top 300. I'm making up that number. I don't know what silver means, but like that means you're top 300 in the country or something like that, right? It by giving the statistics of your achievements in a competition, you're actually giving raw data that you're actually the top in your field. And it's okay if you don't do well in the competitions, but even participating in a competition teaches you a lot and gives you a lot of skills where you can actually demonstrate that. the second thing, so the first thing was that you should pursue clubs that have competitions associated with them. So if you're interested in business, then FBLA has a competition associated with it. If you're interested in math, then there's tons of math competitions. If you're interested in computer science, there's tons of computer science competitions. Biology Olympiad, chemistry Olympiad, debate tournaments, Lincoln Douglas, policy, public forum, those types of things. So the second thing is I would recommend that you get started with something as early as 9th and 10th grade. So explore really rigorously different clubs that are offered at your school, or even if they're not offered at your school, try to seek them out. Try to figure out what you would be interested in. So 9th grade, I actually was really interested in AMC 10 and like math and possibly computer science. And I was like, I really want to do math for my 4 years, right? I want to get really invested in math. And then I showed up to my first math club meeting, and it's called Varsity Math Team, and I got a 0 out of 15, and I was like the bottom of the bottom, and I mean 0 is the most common score, so it was okay, but I mean it was just like kind of an eye-opener that like, wow, maybe I don't want to do math as much. And I showed up to a debate meeting and I really loved it. It was really fun, it was really cool to debate it, and I actually got first in my first local tournament out of like 50 people, and it was kind of a good positive reinforcement that this is something that I really enjoy and this is something that I really liked, and I had so much fun that day. Even though I was competing against so many people, it was really fun. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to get really invested in this one thing that I enjoy. So I went to a summer camp after that 9th grade to kind of get better at debate. And so that's kind of my recommendation is, I mean, it might not be debate for you, it might be something else, but first try to explore in your 9th grade or 10th grade, try to explore as many competitions as possible. And even if you're in 11th or 12th grade, just try to get involved in something. Even 1 year is enough to do to get a lot of accolades in something that you're interested in. The third thing to note is that, if you get really good at math, you're gonna win, or you're gonna like do well in a lot of tournaments, right? Because most of the math tournaments are testing the same foundational ability, if your ability to critically think and do problem solving. If you get good at debate, right, all the debate tournaments, they're just, the only difference is that where they're located, right? So like the Harvard debate tournament is pretty similar to the Yale debate tournament. They're like, the topic is the same, or I mean, that changes every 2 months, but like most of the people who are competing at the top level, they'll all be the same, things like that. So it's kind of nice to collect a lot of accolades through these things, because you can kind of like continuously show that you're really good at this one thing, and it kind of shows this longitudinal involvement with something. Okay, so these are kind of all my achievements with debate. So I didn't get first in all of them, but I did do pretty well in some of them. Like University of Pennsylvania, I got 6th 2 years in a row, sophomore year and junior year. Harvard, I got 28th speaker out of 257. Virginia High School Debate Championship, I got 4th in my 10th grade. So these are pretty good achievements because I got started early and I kept practicing and I went to camps and things like that. I was actually considering opening my own debate camp to kind of train people who wanted to get involved in debate. If you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments. I don't know if there's a lot of interest in that or not. Okay, the next thing is research. I think this is actually the make or break of not the make or break, because it doesn't really break if you don't have it, but it's a huge plus if you have research in your application, because I think honestly research is one of the most difficult things to sort of get into unless you're really ambitious and you want to like cold email people and email professors at research institutions and tell them that you're really interested in their research, or you want to get involved in research with different laboratories, things like that. Research is very difficult to get into because either you're applying to some like summer research program, which are pretty competitive. Examples are like what's the one, MIT RSI, that's an example of a research competition, or not research competition, research internship. ASIP is another example. There's tons of research internships that are available where you can like travel and go there and stay there for 8 weeks and do a research project, and you can like, it's really good for your resume. But you can also kind of create your own, and if you want to know how to do that, I have another video in this channel where I explain how you can kind of create your own research internship by cold emailing people. And that's actually what I did, is I emailed a lot of professors at Georgetown University and asked them if I could do research over the summer, and one of them was kind enough to let me work with them over the summer. And it was super rigorous. Like I was working like 10-12 hours every day, hour and a half commute, and things like that. But I got a lot out of it. I learned a lot about neuroscience, and it was really cool. So the other cool thing about research is that if you're doing research, then hopefully you should ask your mentor that if you could do like your own independent project, maybe towards the end once you've actually gained some valuable skills. That's what I ended up doing, and then you're able to participate in research competitions, and that's where you submit your abstract or your research paper, things like that. So this is one of the research competitions. I was placed in top 15 high school students in the country for this neuroscience research prize from the American Academy of Neurology. I had the Siemens Science Fair semi-finalist. I had MIT Inspire finalist. So this is for actually a project that me and one of my friends worked on in my high school on kind of this like coding project, where we kind of blended computer science and anthropology together. And then we presented this at MIT, and we were the top 6 teams in the anthropology division. This is another thing that me and my friends kind of worked on. It was like a 24-hour challenge competition where we kind of had to create this 10-20 page paper and submit it to this Moody Math Challenge competition. It's something that anybody can participate in, so if you're kind of looking for research, this is probably a good place to start. And then I submitted my neuroscience research to this science fair in my school, and then the regional fair, things like that. These are like the descriptions of my project. I won't bore you, but you can see that there is some diversity. So the first one was my neuroscience project. The second one was a Python project where this is the one that we presented at MIT, and we created this program to understand the motives of people in the Darfur crisis. And it was kind of like a test of whether we were able to take this very qualitative problem and use quantitative factors to analyze it. Okay, this project is something that I did in school during my senior research lab, and we basically tried to make this app where we could, if you drop copper in water, and the water would change color based on the reaction that was going on. And so we wanted to see like if the phone could capture what the color of the water is and figure out how much concentration of copper there is. Okay, and then the last one is this is the one that we submitted to Moody Math Challenge. Okay, this is kind of a description of my 8 weeks at Georgetown University, where I kind of did a lot of neuroscience research. You can read that if you want. I won't bore you with that. Okay, now the last thing is kind of the more easy stuff to get into, which is volunteerism and leadership. So if you're kind of like, I don't really want to do all this. This sounds like a lot of work. And I think I kind of went overkill in high school. I think it's like, if I look back at it, I should have enjoyed more and kind of lived my life a little bit more. But this is kind of how everybody was in my high school, so that's why just like peer pressure made us all work really hard. Okay, this is kind of like, I guess, the most important part for you if you're just like looking for things to add on to your resume pretty quickly. This is a pretty nice scholarship to apply to, and it's kind of like you write an essay and you submit your resume, and I forgot the other things, but it's a pretty long essay that you can submit. But my recommendation is that a lot of people don't like writing essays, and so you should just search up constantly high school scholarships online near me, anything, right? Junior year high school scholarships, because there's so many scholarships available, and like the fact that there's only 25 high school juniors that were applying to the scholarship, but like there should be like hundreds of thousands of high school juniors who are applying to the this scholarship, because they were awarding like something like amazing, like a lot of money, right? The only thing is like the essay topic was very difficult. Like it required a lot of research, and so that's why probably a lot of people didn't choose to apply. And so if you kind of apply to these scholarships where there's a lot of work involved, there's probably going to be a lower or a higher threshold for other people to apply, and so that means that you're probably going to have a better application. The next thing was a Yale Bassett Service Award semifinalist. This was the top 40 out of 800 high school juniors, and this is pretty similar. This was also kind of like a essay, a couple of essays, and I had to show my leadership and service and things like that. I was a AP Scholar with distinction. I had the National Merit Scholarship semi-finalist, and actually I won it, so I was the finalist and I won it. This was just kind of outdated. And another tip that I have is, like, you should probably, like, I used to think like the PSAT was kind of like, I didn't really have to study for it or anything like that, but I'm actually really glad that I studied for it, not because the National Merit Scholarship is not actually that much. I think it's like 5,000 or 2,500, which is really nice, but it's like not enough to cover $80,000 a year college. But the thing is, like, if you if you do get the National Merit Scholarship, a lot of colleges just automatically put you on their list for giving you a full ride or a half full ride, and they just email you and say, hey, if you apply to this school, it'll be a free application and you'll get in and you'll get a full scholarship, which happened to me for a lot of schools. And so if you kind of get this, it's kind of a huge money win if you're okay with going to a school that maybe you haven't heard of before. Okay, the next thing is, like, in my county, I got this thing called the Excellence in Education Award. I was a leader for a lot of the things on my debate team. So I was the captain in my senior year, teaching coordinator in my junior year, and publicist in my sophomore year. And this is kind of a description of what I did. I created a beginner's guide, I recruited new debaters, I gave weekly lectures, I managed logistics and case strategies, and then I was the member of a German honor society. If you remember my classes, you'll remember that I took AP German, and so I got involved with this German Honor Society. I fostered culture in school events, and I also had the Gold Award for the National German 3 exam, which is the 95th percentile. Okay, some more things. If you're interested in being pre-med, like I was, then volunteering at a hospital or shadowing a doctor or doing some clinical service is pretty nice. It shows a lot of interest in it. The only thing is that most likely it's going to be a really difficult sort of tenuous experience, just because, you know, there's not a lot of skills that you have in the hospital to be able to contribute to anything, and so it might not be it. You know, my main things, I tried to talk to patients whenever possible, but like the major thing that I was doing is sanitizing medical equipment, cleaning up rooms, taking care of urine, things like that. So it was more like I was a cleaner in the hospital, but I did get exposed to a lot of clinical experiences, and I kind of was able to talk to a lot of patients. And so you kind of have to do a lot of grunt work if you're willing to do that in order to do clinical experiences, but it is a pretty nice experience to be able to learn a lot about the field of medicine. Okay, the next thing is I taught a debate club at Eagle Ridge Middle School. So this was a middle school that was local to me, and this was during my 11th and 12th grade, and I taught a lot of students, like 50-60 students, and so it was a really good experience for me to learn how to teach and learn how to communicate and kind of work with people who are younger than me. Okay, the next thing is I interned at a nonprofit patient advocacy called Monochrome Man. This is kind of another lesson where if you go to Google and you search up internships near me or things like that, you know, you'll see people who are posting job opportunities for high school students. And so if you see that, then just send an email or submit an application, and you're probably going to get involved in something that's really interesting. So this is something that was really interesting to me, which was that it was kind of an online summer internship over between the 10th and 11th grade, where I got to kind of help prepare documents for a September congressional meeting to support people who had rare genetic disease. And so it was a pretty cool experience. And then the last thing was I was a mentor for this TJ Lift program, which was kind of helping people through the essay and resume writing application process for my high school. Okay, this is my college results if you've been waiting for this. So I was accepted at UPenn, Johns Hopkins, Cornell, Carnegie Mellon, Rice. I had a pretty substantial scholarship at Rice. WashU's 8-year medical program. I was accepted off the waitlist for this 8-year medical program. UPitt, UVA, VCU. I was waitlisted at Harvard and Brown, and then later rejected from those two. And then I was rejected from Dartmouth, Yale, Stanford, MIT, and Princeton. So ultimately I was really deciding between these two schools for a long time, because I was pretty sure I wanted to be pre-med. But then I got off the waitlist for this medical program, the WashU 8-year medical program. And so I decided to go to this 8-year medical program. So I ended up going to WashU, and then now I'm a WashU medical student. WashU's 8-year medical program is kind of unique because they still make you take the MCAT and get a really high GPA and apply to medical schools, but they do let you apply to other medical schools. So I ended up applying to a lot of medical schools after finishing my undergrad, and I was accepted to other medical schools as well. But yeah, I think that's everything. I guess rejected, I should have added that I was rejected from a lot of other BSMD programs, but I kind of forgot which BSMD programs I applied to and which ones I was rejected from. But I guess you should just know that this was the one that I was accepted to. Alright, that's everything. I really hope that answers questions. If it does bring up more questions, then I'm really happy to answer them. I really hope that this was an educational video. I didn't mean to make it bragging about my own experience or things like that. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.